Hello, welcome to the James Cooley Show. It's your life. I'm your host, Dr. James J.C. Cooley, and I see this beautiful woman that's right beside me. I'm looking at her right now, and she is the executive producer of It's Your Life. And I tell you, Dr. Cooley, how are you doing today?
Doing great. It's so weird because yesterday was July 4th. And today I have to go back to work. And it felt like a Monday, even though it's a Friday. It's just strange. I mean, I think Todd and the others can agree that it just feels strange that today's Friday, but doesn't feel like Friday. Yesterday felt like Friday.
Well, yeah, I mean, this does feel like more of a Saturday or Sunday, but I tell you, I'm excited about this show today. And I'm excited about having this guest back on, Michelle, because this guest is so wonderful and she brings so much knowledge and understanding and she tell it like it is. So I'm excited. What are your thoughts?
I'm excited to have her back too. She's been on the show multiple times and she's always coming up with new ways to educate the audience. So we're happy to have her back.
I'm happy to have her back. And hey, Todd, how are you doing today, man? How you doing?
I'm always good, looking to finish this week strong and learn something and be educated and informed here on It's Your Life. And we're about to go prime time here, about 10 seconds. You guys ready to go?
Let's do it.
All right, here we go.
I love Mr. Donald Trump.
Trump's front row shows. Watch it now. Go to salemnow.com. Salemnow.com.
It's Your Life is sponsored by James J.C. Cooley.
Dr. James J.C. Cooley. The James Cooley Show. It's your life.
Hello, welcome to the James Cooley Show. It's your life. I'm your host, Dr. James J.C. Cooley. And as you see, my producer, KCBQ, Todd, he already done started to move great already. And I tell you, a Friday, we got this absolutely fantastic guest on today. And she's been on many, many times. But I tell you, I mean, every time that I see her and she come on the show, I just want to smile. And we gonna get to that one. You get to that one later on. Smile. That's the song that her husband and I love the song, but we're gonna talk because it's all about being able to hold your head up, smile, have a positive attitude, and just be able to just go out there and love, not hate. What are your thoughts on that, Michelle?
Yeah, I know there's serious things going on in the world, but we also have to have an attitude of gratitude, actually, and look at the positive things out of life. So I do believe that's important.
I think it's important too, but before we introduce this young lady, I have to do this because I'm just feeling it right now, Michelle. I am feeling it. Well, where we at? 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 I'm talking about smiling. You can see the smile on my face. It's there because we got great people in the world. We got great people that cares. And so here we go.
Where is all the good news? Where's the helping hand? Where are all the smiles I used to see? You gotta be here somewhere. I think I'll take a look around. Maybe try to find some harmony.
We're going to get back to that one later. But Michelle, can you please introduce the title of the show, the purpose of the show, and introduce this absolutely fantastic returning guest?
Oh, most definitely. So the title of today's show is Conflict as a Force for Good. Can men and women face their fears? And we're having a sit-down conversation with Dr. Pauline Crawford. She's the founder and chief vision officer of Corporate Heart International. She's an author, international speaker, and program director for the International University of Entrepreneurship. She's going to discuss addressing the fear of losing control and power, adapting to new leadership styles, redefining masculinity and leadership, and fostering healthy competitiveness and career advancement. Dr. Pauline Crawford, she's a true visionary, over 30 years of entrepreneurial consultancy experience. She has dedicated her life to empowering leaders to create people-centric collaborative cultures that generate value. Her mission as a conversation game changer has taken her across the globe, where she has worked with clients in Europe, Asia, and Pacific, and the United States. She's the founder of Corporate Heart International, established in the UK in 1999, a performance consultancy with a mission to release the full potential of leaders, managers, and employees. She's developed a personal assessment and conversation tool called Gender Dynamics Intelligence and Workplace Wellness Culture Transformation. You know, there's so much to talk about, Dr. Pauline Crawford, but I'm going to let her tell you. Please welcome back to the show, Dr. Pauline Crawford.
Oh, well, hello, guys. I'm so delighted to be here.
How you doing, Doc? It's been a while since you've been on.
Yeah, I've been busy. But I love the intro with the Smiles song, because that is it. Where have all the smiles gone? But we've got them.
Yeah, we got them. And you know what? We have to make sure that others out in the world are able to understand that smiling, having a great heart and caring about others are so important. And that's kind of put aside a lot of conflicts, a lot of anxiety. And, it's you're able to hold your head up and just smile at others. And you never know what a smile would do when somebody might not be feeling that great. And you go up there and smile and say, hey, everything is okay. So, hey, Dr. Pauline, can you tell our viewers and listeners a little bit more about you, where you're from, what makes you click, and why you're so passionate about what you do?
Well, I'm a global citizen, but I did come from London. I was born in London, the UK, many decades ago. And I'm an adventurer as well as an entrepreneur. And I just love people. I've had lots of conflicts in my life. I've had lots of smiles, but I just really admire people. And I feel that, if we don't understand people, then we don't deserve to be here. So I think I love harmony. That's my mission now, is how do we really embrace harmony in my own life, in everybody's life? Because, as I say, I just love the idea of being alive and being in relationship with other people and finding ways to do things that are curious and creative. That's why I say I'm an adventurer, because I have been around the world, and now I'm here.
It's always great having you on, and Jim as well. And just like I said, I love you guys' music. I mean, it's just absolutely fantastic. You are the program director for International University of Entrepreneurship. What do you love about being an entrepreneur? Because most people, especially like youth and young adults, I know that we pushed to put the entrepreneurship in their minds at a young age.
Yes.
Can you tell the world a little bit more about that?
Well, I it's very simple. I love the freedom to create my own destiny. And that doesn't mean that it's always easy, but there's something about being in that adventurous spirit, taking the risk and looking beyond what has been to what we could do differently, which, is what I want to talk about today when looking at conflict, because that might seem a strange thing to talk about when we're talking about harmony. But I think being an entrepreneur is using your natural gifts and feeling free to sometimes make foolish decisions that other people go, oh, that won't work, and say, well, actually it will. I'm not sure how, but I'm going to make it work. And that's why I think entrepreneurs are very different to what I'd say the traditional business structure that we have in the world. And maybe we need both energies. But if we didn't have entrepreneurs, we wouldn't have that spark. We wouldn't have what makes you you, what makes me me. And that's really exciting.
Yeah, I mean, it's so important that a person has to discover what makes them them and the ideas that they have, and be able to share those with others. Because I mean, I believe that you might have a thought, and another person, everybody might have a thought, but if you don't share those thoughts, we call it collaboration. If you don't share the thoughts with others, you won't be able to fully grasp what the purpose and the goal that you could potentially reach. Can you talk about that a little bit?
Well, actually, I was thinking as you said that, being an entrepreneur can also be a lonely job because, you're taking risks, and often those people close to you are going, whoa, I don't think why are you doing that? You have to go out and change the world, because otherwise you would do things the traditional way. So I think, collaborating with people is essential, but some entrepreneurs, even some very famous ones, dare I say, like Steve Jobs, was notoriously thought to be quite an insular person. So he was so buzzing with ideas. He loved the people he loved, but he didn't necessarily embrace everybody. So I think there's when we look at how we relate to people, whether we're an entrepreneur or we're in a classic business, or we're in a community, an association, or even at home, we need to think about how do we relate to people. And some people are more extrovert, some are more introvert. You and I are quite extrovert, and that won't suit everybody. And so, the other famous entrepreneur I always quote is Sir Richard Branson, who is much more interpersonal, interrelationship than Steve Jobs was. And yet they were both very, very expressive, creative entrepreneurs who have, made many people's lives very, very wealthy and very happy. So being an entrepreneur, being a collaborator, maybe don't always come together. But because we're human beings, unless we're living on a desert island, I always say that we are going to interact with people. And whether it's a few or many, I think it's important to understand where we collaborate and it's smooth and harmonious, and then look at where conflict comes in, because we might not connect with somebody that's actually going to be perfect for us, because there's a feeling of conflict. So conflict actually is a source of energy. And if we look at it like that, then we can face conflict in a positive way. That makes sense.
You mentioned conflict. The next segment, we're really going to dive off into that, because that's the title of today's show. And you are going to educate our listening audience. And I tell you what, we're going to take a station break. But whichever platforms you're watching this on, all you have to do is go to the comments, ask any question that you might have. Or you can pick up the phone and dial 1-888-344-1170 again. That's 1-888-344-1170. KCB Crew, AM 1170. The answer, FM 96.1. Toddy will pat you through. Remember, it's your life, and we'll see you shortly after the break.
There's more stories of greatness to help you overcome adversity coming up on It's Your Life with James Cooley.
Convey I love you. I'm proud of who keeps us close when we're apart. Walking from the darkness of all that we've been through. It seems that there might be a way to leave behind the loneliness we've known and live again a life of
Hard-earned lessons to educate, encourage, and enlighten our next generation of leaders and heroes. Get your copy of Country Boy, City Boy, A Journey That Ain't Over Yet by James J.C. Cooley, available on Amazon and everywhere books are sold.
Hello, welcome back to the James Cooley Show. It's your life. And hey, Todd, man, yeah, man, you jamming, man. You jamming, Todd.
Yeah.
Hey, man, you know what? Sometimes just like what Dr. Pauline talking about here, you know, coming together, being able to collaborate. Some people don't want, especially entrepreneurs, some want to stick by themselves. But I think that the best way to be the best entrepreneurologist or entrepreneur that you can is being able to share what you got, and others might be having similar to the same idea, and whatever you are envisioning, they might be able to help you out. You know, but just like she said, sometimes there is conflict in everything we do. And the title of today's show is Conflict as a Force of Good. Can men and women face their fears? Yeah. Doc, I am so curious on why you came up with this topic, and I want to dive directly into this. So it's yours, Doc.
Okay, well, there's kind of a life history in here. I think I've always been trying to avoid conflict, but I realized that actually I was dealing with conflict in a natural, almost mediating way. That was my nature. Because I love to communicate and I love to share, I found even when I was at school many, many decades ago, I was always in the center of conversation. People would come and ask me, do you know this, do you know that? And I just found myself as a natural engager. And there were people that I didn't like. There were conflicts in the schoolroom, you know, in any situation. In my first corporate career at university, there's always people that I didn't get on with, but I would always try to avoid it and be nice. Maybe this is a very British word. But as I've grown older and really studied this, I realized that that is less effective than actually stepping into the conflict space and understanding that you can approach conflict as a positive energy for changing things, to make it a catalyst, a space where you can challenge people, people can challenge you, but you can also understand differences. So you can understand also what are the natural biases. So that's why I was specifically looking at, you know, women and men. We know that women and men, men and women, there are conflicts, there are inequalities, there's marginalization, there's a lot of history around the lack of equality, the gender equality march at the UN, etc. But actually, if we look at conflict as a space, a catalyst for good, I would like to encourage women especially to step in that space as women and to take away the natural bias of being vulnerable or fearful or seeing men as a threat. And when I interview men and I talk to them about the situation, so often it's an area of the unknown. We don't know how to work with women. We don't know what is expected. So if we look at conflict as basic, a threat, a fear, tension, my choice is to say, how can I deal with this? Being the person I am, being a woman, being from my experience. So understanding experience is incredibly important. And listening to the energy when there's conflict. Because if you think about it, when we look at major conflicts in the world, which end up as wars, those are just disaster. You know, we're actually abusing, killing people. But when you look at conflict on the ground, in a daily life, or you go to work, or you're with a family, or whoever it is, it's usually something that feels like a little attack, and it could be a big attack or a little attack. And this is where, if we come into that space with the assumption that actually I'm going to manage this by being positive, I'm going to ask for clarity if there's something I don't like, I'm going to seek to understand the other person and help them understand me. And if we really want to avoid, let me say, negative, harmful conflict, we can always walk away. So my goal with my passion for authentic harmony is to get in that situation where I don't cause any harm, but I don't get walked over. Because, you know, I'm going to say it, but, you know, a lot of women traditionally have allowed themselves to be walked over, abused, etc. Now, I know this happens to men as well, but as a human race, I think we have to really value our humanity, our life, and know that we can deal with anything. If it's another opinion, we can choose to have a different opinion. We don't need to kill each other for it. And as you and I know, there's a lot of very, very, very polarized challenges going on in our world at every level, and people take sides. So yes, I don't mind people having opinions and taking sides, but be okay about being on that side, accepting, taking ownership, and looking to find a compromise. There's lots of ways to do it, but the main thing is conflict is an energy, and we can choose to go down and destroy ourselves with it, or we can say, right, how can I be myself in this conflict and maybe change the outcome for other people who don't know how to do it? And that comes back to smiles. You know, when we can get to the point where we smile, we might even smile and say, hey, JC, I really don't agree with what you said, but, you know, I really respect your perspective, and smile.
Honesty, integrity, and ethics is so important in anything we do. And many, you mentioned something, the fear of losing control, which a lot of people feel, the fear of losing control, and then they become defensive, offensive. They said things and they make a situation which could have been easy by just being bigger than the next person. But they have to say something, they have to show anger. What would you tell folks out there? How would you prevent losing control or feeling that you have lost control and you let yourself just do things that's not going to be beneficial to you or anyone else?
I think the first thing about being in control of yourself is the invisible self, the one that you come into the room with. I would say to people, you know, whose body did you bring into this world? Because a lot of people blame other people. Well, it was the boss that said it, or everybody was being so bad, or, you know, we're very good at blaming external circumstances. So the first point of control is, even if something fearful comes towards you, is take the breath. And you might be externally going and internally going, ah, but allow yourself to be in control of that moment. And then listen and be very observant, and don't get into finger pointing. I mean, that's where a lot of, well, you said this and I don't like that. And, you know, we get into this finger pointing, but actually to own, even to say, I actually need to take a pause because I'm not feeling good about the situation. If you say that with absolute grounded sense, again, that helps you to be calm. As soon as we get into anger, And this is not about dousing passion. Passion is good. So you be passionate about something, but to get into anger means you're going to fight. And once you get into a fight, then you actually lose control. I mean, a lot of people don't understand, aggressive behavior is a very unconfident place to be, because the only thing you can do is to kill the opponent, literally or figuratively. And that's not healthy. So anger is going to affect your health. So the first thing is to be really aware that everybody in this conflict situation is different, and respect yourself first, and see where you can find clarity. Oh gosh, I didn't really understand. What was that? Could you just share with me in a different way? So you're putting like strategic pauses in to help the conversation to flow. And this for me is a very important part of, say, conflict in the workplace. Very often it's that control and command. And, when we're in a very hierarchical situation, we often feel we don't have a control. But you always have control of your body. You see, this is the one thing. You can always breathe and stay calm and think about yourself. And that's where you start.
You're absolutely right. We have control of our mind, our body. I mean, we're supposed to, where we can take that split second, make rational decisions where we don't have to always react. We got to take a station break. But we're going to come back because Dr. Pauline is educating us. And we're going to pick it up from there. So right now we're talking about conflicts. We're talking about resolving things. We're talking about being the best you. We're talking about the love for others and being able to share our thoughts from an entrepreneurologist perspective, and I hope that you do the same. We're going to take a station break. If you want to be part of this conversation, all you got to do is go to the platform that you're watching us on and ask any comments you want, or pick up the phone and dial 1-888-344-1170. Again, that's 1-888-344-1170. It's your life, and we'll see you shortly after the break.
There's more stories of greatness to help you overcome adversity coming up on It's Your Life with James Cooley.
The James Cooley Show. It's your life. That's right. Let's go. It's the James Cooley Show. It's your life. Dr. James JC Cooley. All right.
Hello, I'm Dr. James J.C. Cooley from the United States of America, and I am here to just say, first of all, I'm so happy and honored to be on it, to be in the Coffee Book 2023, Unified Brain Z, and the other organizations. Thank you so much for giving me an opportunity to be a part of this collection.
But there's things in this world that you gotta know. To be the best that you can be, you wanna grow real big into a strong tree. To be who you're created to be, the one who's gonna leave a legacy is you. But you got to have these 4 C's. Create, collaborate, then you commit with confidence. Create, collaborate, then you commit with confidence. It's the 4 C's. Oh yeah. It's the 4 C's.
Hey, welcome back to the James Cooley Show. I'm like, yeah, hey Todd, I'm sorry, man. Don't beat me up, man. It's Friday, man. It's a day after the 4th, and I'm jamming. I'm still excited about yesterday. What about you, Todd?
I am too, and this is a great show. I'm learning so much, to think about conflict as, a positive thing and that there's energy behind it. It's very fascinating. And I know that, even in conflict, it's one way to get somebody else's perspective. So I'm learning a lot today from Dr. Crawford, and I'm taking notes, Doctor.
Oh, good. We'll test you later.
Yeah, you're going to take a test later, Todd. But I tell you, Dr. Crawford, just like Todd said, I'm learning so much as well. And I think we all have to have an open mind and figure out why we have so many challenges, because it's not all about my way or the highway. It's not all about the I, the me, and the mine. It's all about the we, the us, and the our. And so we can diffuse conflict if we go in with that philosophy. So I tell you what, whichever platform that you are watching us on, all you have to do is just go to the comments, ask any question that you might have, or pick up the phone and call Todd at 1-888-344-1170. Again, that's 1-888-344-1170. Doc, how does exploring equity leadership benefit us all?
Well, this is where we need to, in this conversation about conflict, which we are highlighting women and men. There are lots of conflicts, economically, etc. But if we just focus on leadership, which has been primarily male over 2,000 years, but over the last 100 years, we've striven for equality. We've never actually really got total equality. But now you've got a lot of women in leadership positions, and it still seems to feel like a bit of a fight. And I promote the idea of dropping the attention on equality, not losing it, but actually saying, right, we're not actually equal. We come into the meeting, into the business, into the boardroom with very different skills. So leadership isn't one way. And if you look at leadership and then collaboration, women and men do it differently. I mean, women are much more chatterers. We are more relational, or we like to gather in circles. Men tend to work in teams. They're very competitive. These are very general terms. Obviously, there's lots of crossovers. But because we've had primarily a male leadership model for many, many decades, women have been that. And actually, what I encourage women to think about now is bringing their own special skills in, which is much more about sensitivity, relationships, emotional capacity, and dare I say, nurturing. And I would love to see nurturing as a boardroom conversation. If you were going to nurture your children or your customers, or maybe they're the same, if you're going to nurture your garden to grow, but it's a word that's not used by men. And it's like words are so important in the conflict game. And that's why when we're having conversations about leadership, we really need to embrace all different types of leadership. So the action-oriented one, the servant leader, the creative leader, like Steve Jobs, or the very sensitive people-focused one like Richard Branson, or the very detail-oriented leader who wants everything very specific. Now, those work in different situations. So conflict is very situational as well. And if we see conflict as a fuel, we'll have energy in that fuel in every situation, and we'll have different types of men and women. Essentially, we're different and similar. And so the bottom line is, do we want harmony and collaboration in leadership, or do we want to only strive for profit and control, and dare I say, greed and ego comes into that? Now, I'm not saying which is the right way, but I'm saying no harm. So at the end of the day, because we're all human beings, we will get harmed if we stay in a violent or toxic or conflict situation that's negative. That's about
Well, you mentioned strategic. Uh, so what can we use to help both men and women adjust to new leadership styles that prioritize collaboration, empathy, and easing the fear or change, from the established norms? That's a tough one.
well, this is tough, and you can't do it overnight. But if you think about the different cultures, different country cultures, different family cultures, different business cultures, leaders need to be aware of the culture around them, but also inspire the culture they want. And dare I say it, going back to Richard Branson, his famous quote is, "If you don't understand people, you shouldn't be in business." He understands people, and he's very, he's got 70,000 employees, and they're probably all pretty happy. So that's a good sign. Now, not all leaders will be like that, and that's okay too. But it's down to the leader to understand how to embrace the culture and how to do it. I would suggest that we need to get into listening and caring, but more clarity around conversations. So what we do with Corporate Heart is we look at how do we embrace magical conversations. And this is not fluffy. This is actually conversations without judgment. Now, that might sound anti-decision making, but it's a element to creating a good culture. And I've been running these for 30 years. And I know that when people enter conversations where there's no judgment, they know they can share without somebody pointing a finger or casting aspersions or being critical. They produce more. So, we're looking for how to be productive instead of negative. We want to be positive in how we embrace conflict. And the culture is a very communicative one. It's efficient and effective and all the other business skills, for sure. We're not doubting that. But if it's about people, it's identifying what we said at the beginning. Some people want to have conversations, some people don't. Some people just want to listen, some people want to talk. So what we do is we embrace those in certain ways that makes people feel safe to share. And when we look at can men and women face their fears, there is a lot of fear in the corporate world, for sure, for women especially. Am I going to be ignored? Can I get my voice heard? Are they critiquing me? And some of those are real and unconscious. So what we're doing is we're looking at, let's take it back to the playground, is how do we get kids to play in a way that's really bonding and collaborative and creative and fun. You'll get much more out of those kids if they all know what they are, who they are, and why they're there, and how they can play together. So I'm very, very keen that we understand ourselves at a human level, as opposed to a business strategic level, and then combine the two. That makes sense?
Make a whole lot of sense to me. And we have to do those things because, even from a business perspective, I believe that whoever is the boss, so whatever, they have to be able to do not just from a top-down perspective, but also a bottom-up. Everybody had to be included. And by doing that, letting people know that who they are, what their job position is, what they're doing, and understand that if they're working for a corporation or company, this is what we're trying to do. Not that if you're working in aerospace, you're doing the rivets. I mean, you have to understand that the bottom line is you're going to create a plane. I mean, long as everybody knows what they are doing and they feel happy and comfortable about, hey, I'm a part of building this plane. That get rid of a lot of things and people understand their purpose a little bit more. What are your thoughts? So you got about 30 seconds before the break.
Well, just very quickly going to say is we need to make sure that we understand that everybody is different and we come into that space of conversation with different perspectives. So listen is the very first thing we need to do, and to be intentional, to be interested. Be intentional to be interested, and then you will seed that conversation with interest. oh, I never thought about that. That's interesting. Even just putting the words in creates that energy, and then it becomes more, and people relax. And once people relax, they become more authentically themselves, and then we get to creativity.
Hey, I like that. We gotta take a station break, but this is so good. And I don't understand why the comments are not coming in. You listening and you watching just like I am. And if you want to be part of the conversation, 65 different platforms. All you have to do, just go to the comments on what you're watching. Just want to ask any question that you might have, or pick up the phone and dial 1-888-344-1170. That's 1-888-344-1170. Remember, it's your life, and we'll be back shortly after the break.
There's more stories of greatness to help you overcome adversity. Coming up on It's Your Life.
Dr. James JC Cooley. The James Cooley Show. It's your life.
On this one, I want all my women to stand up. All my real soldiers. Yeah, if you're a winner, gotta be number one. Don't stop till the job is done. You know it starts with a try. Gotta win, gotta spread your wings, gotta fly. Lift up your head. Don't stop till it's down with the bed. No matter how hard it seems, gotta keep on pressing, gotta keep that dream. Be the best you can be. Go get your victory. Throw your hands up in the sky. Gotta be number one when you win, and you will see that there's a story, man. Now follow the plan. Gotta raise up, be a leader, make a change. It's time for you now. Take a stand.
Really get a chance to know who you are. And once you know who you are, you truly know who you are, love who you are. Love who you are. You're a masterpiece. Love who you are. Love who you were born to be. Love me some me. That's what I'm talking about. When you leave high school, you gotta know today or tomorrow, hopefully today, what your plans are. Hopefully, there is no bad decision unless there is no plan. Create, collaborate, commit with confidence. Commit with what? Commit with what? In everything that you do.
Dr. James Cooley. It's the James Cooley Show. It's your life. Dr. James Cooley. Yeah.
Hello. Welcome back to the James Cooley Show. It's your life, and I tell you, Dr. Pauline Crawford, you need to give a class every day, every week to the world. You need to be on a whole lot of platforms teaching this message because we truly need it. It's a sense of joy to actually understand that conflicts as a force of good can be good sometimes, but we have to overcome our fears, and we have to overcome our fears among men, women, whether it's races or whatever. I'm talking about race relations or whatever. We have to overcome our fears and learn to love each other, not hate each other. We all got differences, but we have to be together in order to strive, in order to make this world the best place it can be. Hey, Todd, what are your thoughts on that?
Yeah, I'm right with you, James. This is real important, and more than ever in our life, we have more conflicts, and people aren't really resolving them in a good way that people learn and move on. So it's important you have more guests on like Dr. Crawford. People can learn how to, have civil discourse and conflict and still be friends afterwards.
Absolutely. Absolutely. So, Doc, this is going to be a tough one. Now, you talk about masculinity and leadership. Can you tell our viewers exactly what that means?
Well, redefining masculinity in leadership, it kind of refers to what we know historically, that the world has been designed by men. And over the last 100 years, women have fought to be on that blueprint. My view is that we need a different blueprint. But the masculine energy is really important because masculine energy is the action. It's the decisiveness. So you can find that in women. I've got quite a lot of masculine energy in me. I'm very action-oriented and decisive. So some women are more feminine than me, although I am female. And so the feminine energy, we find that in men as well, is the gentle side, it's the yin yang. This is the yin, the feminine, is that sensitivity, that ability to really embrace people. I often quote Nelson Mandela as a very feminine-minded male, and that was because he was very sensitive and intuitive in how he led his people. And I think understanding these different energies is important. Masculinity doesn't necessarily mean male. There's different energies. So we look at conflict as an energy, positively. We look at masculinity as positive energy and femininity as positive energy. Then we're talking about energy, energy, energy. And as Tesla says, everything is energy, vibration, and frequency. So again, imagine as you enter a room and there's conflict brewing, you can feel the tension. That's energy, negative energy, but it's energy. And the reason I talk about authentic harmony and the power of it is that if we power up the harmony in the room to allow the conflict to reduce to a calm place, we will be the leader of that group because we're taking people to a better place. Conflict in anger is never comfortable. And we go out and everybody will go out maybe saying, oh, I'm okay. But they go out going, oh, I don't want to go. And as soon as we got that, we need to get rid of it ourselves. So one of the things is not to blame other people for that, even though other people might have been part of that negative energy. So masculinity redefined is not negative. There could be negative people who are both masculine and feminine. So bad behavior is bad behavior and not allowed. But conflict, seen as an energy force for good, is a place where we can stretch our muscles, our sensitivity, as well as our strength. And I think that one of the things is to understand if conflict is a threat to your life, then you deal with that first. If conflict is an energy source that you can play a part of changing, that's different. And then you become more in control of your own life. And you can forgive those that don't agree with you because they're only difficult. They're not difficult people. They're just difficult in relationship to you. So it's about starting to see the world through the eyes of harmony. And it's always going to be easy, but it's an intentional set of principles. And in my book, I have 9 principles. And the last one is compatibility. So with men and women, can we look and see whether we're compatible for the situation we're in, where there maybe is some tensions. And, the psychology of the positive nature of conflict is that a company needs that energy. It's almost a creative force, but it's not, if it's harmful, then it's not. So we're looking at all the pieces. It's like a jigsaw puzzle. Everybody's different, but everybody's human. If we get into real negative conflict, the human body will suffer, and the group will suffer, and the society will suffer.
Society will suffer as well. We're down to about the last 3 minutes of the show. I want to talk a little bit about your book. Can you tell our viewers and listeners the title of your book? How can they get your book? And a lot of these things that we're talking about today, you go deep in the book.
Well, the book is called The Power of Authentic Harmony. Here it is. It's on Amazon, and it's a very straightforward read, and it is translated into French for any French-speaking people here, and I'm planning on other languages. But The Power of Authentic Harmony, and the subline is Magical Conversations That Transform the World. And it's a very constructive book. It's got lessons in it. It's got exercises. It's got very practical tips. And it's got a very fun epilogue called The Bears and the Birds, which everybody will love, because the men are bears and the women are birds. So the men are very grounded and the women are very, I was going to say flighty, but I don't mean that. We're very flexible. So the book is designed to give you an insight and lessons to grow what you need to be. And then I work with individuals, clients, and teams to help that expand into performance, relationships, and good cultures. And that's my passion, is that we get productivity and prosperity by being people who love each other. That will fit with
We gotta love each other. What are 3 quick takeaways that you want our viewers and listeners to get from this great discussion that we've had?
I think the big takeaway is, remember, everything starts with you. Look at conflict as a source of a something you can get the best out of, not the worst. And then to remember that the feeling that you get when you get it right, it doesn't matter if it's a win or it's a compromise or it's a walking away, it's still a win. And remember, the only thing that really matters is you being yourself and being true to your authentic presence. And that's the most important thing to remember. And remember that it's okay not to be okay.
You know what? That's you hit it on. You hit the hammer, the nail on the hammer. It's okay not to be okay, because it gives you a chance to, I believe, explore and figure out what's going to make you okay and what's going to help you define your purpose and the things that God planted you here to do, and also help you be the best authentic you as possible. I think all of those things are so important. Dr. Crawford, I want to thank you so much. You got a standing invitation for this show. I want to thank you so much for taking the time to come on the James Cooley Show. It's Your Life, syndicated prime time. I'd like to thank Dr. Michelle Cooley for putting together another great show. I'd like to thank my producer at KCBQ, AM 1170 Answer, FM 96.1, San Diego, Todd, for always putting together great shows. I'd like to thank our viewers and our listeners for tuning in to the James Cooley Show. It's Your Life. And I tell you what, always dream big, think big, and be big at everything you do. We'll be back tomorrow. A recap, the James Cooley Show. You can catch it on KCBQ at 10 p.m., 11 p.m. Pacific Standard Time, and also 11 p.m. to 10 a.m. to 11 a.m.
What does it take for organizations to triumph? It takes the trust of people like you, and that's why an estimated 40
cancel culture. So Mike is passing the savings directly on to
Doc. That was great. Dr. Ballin, you still there? That was absolutely fantastic. Fantastic.
Oh, thank you.
And my great friend, Dr. Ballinger, I think you would be a great guest on her show as well. She's a child psychiatrist.
Oh, excellent.
And hey, Ballin, can you hear me? I don't think she can. I thought she was there. But I think
yes, sir. I can hear you.
Oh,
it just took me a minute to find the mute button.
I think Dr. Pauline Crawford will be an excellent, superb guest on your show.
I would love that.
So I was gonna say, so you guys are off. So you're off the air because I went to grab something real quick.
Yeah, I'm off there.
Okay. Hi.
Hi there. How are you
doing?
Oh, she
so
is.
So let me just I just want to compliment you on that. Your beautiful, elegant presence.
Oh, thank you. I appreciate that so much.
You're welcome. I'm loving that hair.
I know it's great because it's natural. I get these people who stop me and say, "How do you do your hair color?" I say, "I just grow it."
Hey, Ballin. We was in Vegas, I think, 3 months ago. We met up with her
Yes.
and Dr. Jim, her husband.
Yes.
Absolutely fantastic. They came and they stayed at my house in Cali with us. Just fantastic. Ballin, this is a wonderful, wonderful woman. And so are you. You already know that.
Absolutely. Thank you for saying that. Yeah, I heard you. And so one of the things too, I was thinking about that I said to myself, if you were so open to come on my show, one of the things I would be having the conversation with you about conflict is also about how it's an opportunity.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. That was my point, is it's such an opportunity, especially for women, because we've been arguing for too long about the status quo. And I think we've just got to be more strategic and more savvy and not fight about it.
Yeah, I just think when it comes to men, sometimes you got to clobber them upside the head with a club.
Oh, that's hey, yeah, we are thick-headed sometimes.
No, we've got to enjoy life as well. I think, there's too much argy-bargy. It's like, I think arguments are such a waste of time. We could have amazing, magical conversations, which would be much more useful.
Yeah. But there's the Chinese symbol for crisis.
Oh yes,
yes,
opportunity and danger, isn't it?
Yes.
Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
and absolutely, and that's the essence of our work with Entrepreneurship. It's about knowledge, experience, and imagination. How can we challenge the status quo and do things differently? And I think that's really where that Chinese symbol comes in. Opportunity and danger. Yeah. And that's why not everybody will be an entrepreneur or entrepreneurologist, because I remember meeting somebody in Malaysia and he said, "When I've got some money, I'm going to become an entrepreneur." And I said, "Don't bother." I said, because if you can't take the risk now, why not you just invest in somebody else?
Wow. And what did he say to that?
Oh, he just walked away, but he was far too traditional. He would have, he wanted to start a business. Starting a business is different to being an entrepreneur for me.
Okay.
So, somebody can start a business and make it very successful, but they're not thinking outside the box.